Ann Arbor's Talk Station, 1290 WLBY, the Lucy Ann Lance Show on this Saturday. Damian Farrell, the architect from Ann Arbor, back with us with his Damian on Design. Today we're going to take a look at trends in kitchens.
We are, yes. Our friends at House, this new phenomenon that's landed in the laps of architects and designers who do residential work, have put out their first study. So we have the Fall Kitchen Trends Study in front of us that we're going to talk about today. 5 big ideas that they are putting forward. Number 1, bigger isn't better, but the open concept still lives.
What is it about the open concept that resonates with homeowners today and families?
I think that we gather in that area so much. There's something about the place where we make food, even if we're just warming a pizza, right, or making coffee. There's just something that's soulful, if you will, and connecting about the kitchen, I think.
And didn't it start when everyone always wanted to be in the kitchen?
Yeah.
Think back to the 60s, 70s growing up. I remember your parents would have a party or whatever, and that's where everyone wanted to come in. They wanted to see the cook. They wanted to be in there with you.
They wanted to chat and talk, and
And so we took down walls and we said, okay, we're all together.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and it was such a stunning concept at the time, wasn't it?
It really was.
No, we've seen nothing in my career that has gone against that.
Yeah.
At all. Other than, when I go back to South Africa, sometimes the kitchens are still back off somewhere in the corner, but they still have staff and help, and
that's why that works then.
that's why that helps. I see that in my brother-in-law's set up in their home in Hong Kong.
Really?
Yeah.
And when you have staff or help, they're going to have a separate area.
A separate area.
They're not going to be necessarily open to the rest of the family or what's going on.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I remember growing up, we would love to eat outside, and we didn't have an opening to the outside. My mother would pass food through the kitchen window, through the window, and she said, "Frank, would you please do something about?" And sure enough, he opened up the whole house and made it beautiful. So it all worked. But I will never forget her passing food through the window like that. And I thought, this isn't working, right?
No, it's not working.
We have to rethink of how we live in a house and how we want to live and design our house that way. So.
Yeah.
All right, so bigger isn't better, but open concept is a big trend.
Still a big trend.
What else?
Yeah. Granite and quartz are capturing the countertops, and mixing materials is popular. I've seen that for a while. Usually we see it where you'll mix and do something different on an island from the regular countertop. So, in the traditional design of kitchens, we've seen people treating the kitchen islands more like a table sometimes. Something, an old antique table, or making it look that way, the butcher block and so on.
Right.
But even in contemporary design and very contemporary kitchens that we're working on, we're seeing people looking for a different surface on the island just to differentiate.
Have you seen concrete?
Oh yes, worked with concrete. I love it.
What is that like in the kitchen?
It's you have to really want it because it does patina. And by that I mean it stains, marks, chips.
Okay. Patina sounds so nice.
And you have to want that kind of aging look. So even though you seal it, but where the ones that I've worked with, and I haven't done it in Michigan, I've done it out of state, working with a company in California, they've actually included things like chips out of computers, pieces of costume jewelry that are dear to the family, embedded in the concrete and then sanded down.
Oh, cool.
And so that you see these pieces coming through the concrete, and you run your finger over it, and it's flush. But sending in little things that might be precious to the family but you're willing to part with and have it built into your countertop. So that's kind of the funkiness. But where they're also really beautiful is you can build in the areas like drying areas, where you might recess a piece of that counter, slope it down into the sink, and do it as a draining area, for instance.
Oh, very nice.
So it's a very, when you're working with it, it's very plastic. And so you can really mold it and shape it as you begin the work, and you can customize it so entirely.
What's the difference between granite and quartz?
Good question, because quartz is very popular these days. Quartz is taking stone chips, flakes and so on, from the places where granite or marble or any of the stones are mined, grinding that up to various degrees of grinding, some of it very fine, some of it quite coarse, and then rolling it, including it almost in a dough-like form with polymers. So it's a man-made stone, would probably be a good way of describing it. You're taking all the original pieces of stone, chips and so on, mixing, blending so you can achieve different colors and different texture, and then putting it into a compound.
And granite?
And granite chips as well.
All right, but granite...
No, granite then on its own, right? Granite simply mined, same way that travertine can be mined in slabs. Granite, marble can all be mined in slabs.
Okay. Would you use travertine on a countertop?
No, I would not. That is the most porous. Okay. I've only seen it used on floors. We've only used it on floors.
Okay. So if you're deciding between granite, quartz, even concrete, how do you make that decision in your kitchen?
Good question. I would steer someone. I would ask someone if they want to maintain a very consistent look and a very clean look, which is what a material like quartz will give you, and things like some of the other solid surface materials, corian, for instance. Those will never change, and they are super easy to maintain. Then you'll go to the next step from a maintenance point of view would be granite, because that too can pick up rings from water glasses, anything like that. It can get damaged as well, and it has to be sealed and maintained that way if you want that perfect look. Then all the way down to concrete, which is simply going to age and patina, get character and so on. That's got to drive your decision, and then I think after that, cost.
So quartz is more sturdy, more...
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
Because of the polymer, it's much more resistant to any moisture getting into it. Whereas, granite, even though it's solid, it still has, it's coarse. If you look at granite, the texture of granite, that's one of the things we love, right, is the coarseness of the grain and the beauty of the grain.
Which is more expensive?
Granite is.
Oh.
Yeah.
So quartz might be a really good option.
It's a very good option. It's not far below. But then again, granite's also very too. Some of the more rare granites obviously are more expensive.
Right.
Then there are some that you can find in pretty much any kitchen shop around the country.
Okay. Number 3 on big ideas from Houzz, which is HOUZZ.com, and the kitchen trends that are out right now is what?
Stainless appliances cohabitating with appliances in other colors.
Really? They're
finishes.
mixing it?
Yeah, I have not seen this.
Okay.
And I don't really get it. But maybe this is just one of those things that we do it because it's different and because it's new. I don't know why you would do that. Do you? I don't see that.
Well, you usually do it because you have one goes out and you want to gravitate towards stainless.
That could be, yes. No, you're right. I guess I'm assuming if you were starting from scratch here and you're doing a complete gut job.
Right. What I've also seen, and when you talk about countertops being different in different spaces in the kitchen, I've seen cabinets now also with different varying woods, and
absolutely.
They're really mixing it up in the kitchen.
They are mixing it up so that it's more furniture-like.
Yes.
Particularly if people are going with traditional design, want something very traditional looking.
Okay.
You'll get something that looks like an old cabinet that you found somewhere.
Yet, number 4 on the list is conservative color schemes.
Yeah. We are pretty conservative in this country, when it comes to home design. I look at some of the magazines and so on that we get and read a lot, and places Australia, South Africa, Europe, their design is much more avant-garde, I would say, and leans much more towards the contemporary than we do in this country. And that's point number 5, is that the younger homeowners are going contemporary. They are seeing the European style, or the things that we've called the European style, because of their cleanness, their simplicity, their modularity. And they're liking it. It's resonating.
Damian, they know it the minute they walk into a home that they're looking at. Watch the home shows, and they start talking about, gee, is that dated? And I'm looking going, really, that's dated? The 90s is dated? How did that happen already? And they want the new, the contemporary, the modern for young people.
And probably the essence of that would be to understand how IKEA works as a modular kitchen. And that's what's driven a lot of that kitchen design in Europe. So, when you buy a home in Europe, you don't buy it with a kitchen. When you buy your kitchen, it's yours to take with you and yours to keep. So that's why they've built these things in a modular fashion. Out of that came the design aesthetic. But you have to be able to dismantle your kitchen and take it with you.
Yeah. Dream appliances include a chef stove, double ovens, induction cooktop, wine refrigerator, dishwasher drawer, convection oven. What I hate is when I see people put microwaves down near the bottom. That has to be eyesight to me. I don't get that either.
I don't get
I'm not bending for anything.
No.
Even for a piece of
No, for anything that I think you've got to manipulate a dial, put numbers and change. I just don't understand that. I've seen one now where apparently it's a drawer. I've seen the pictures of it. The drawer comes out, so it's below counter, and then it has the controls on the top edge of the drawer. I guess there's some logic to that. It's a little bit like some of the more contemporary dishwashers. When you open the door, the controls are along the leading edge of the door facing you upwards, and that makes sense. But I don't get that one either.
Damian Farrell with Damian Farrell Design Group and online at dfdgonline.com. You can check out his website and the projects he's been working on. And it looks like among those surveyed for this house site is the majority are starting from scratch. They're doing a good job.
They are doing a good job. And we're seeing it too in our work as the economy has started to improve. The work we're doing in kitchens, bathrooms, and so on is take it all out and let's go fresh.
Damian on Design each week here on the Lucy Ann Land Show, Ann Arbor's Talk Station, 1290 WLBY.